Hey, what is going on? There are about a dozen videos on YouTube right now talking about coding on Claude Code and all that same problem, but they show you a finished machine, but you don't know how to actually know that. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can use Claude Code to turn yourself into a lead generation expert. The main problem is that you guys are not thinking from first principles. You're going to get into building some random clay table and automation and all this stuff right away, and that is the problem. If you think from first principles, what are we trying to accomplish? We are trying to have the other person at the other side of this, who you're sending to, take action on whatever the CTA in the email is. So in order for them to do that, they need to read in the email. And for them to read the email, they need to click on it. And for them to be able to click on it, it needs to be in their inbox. And to make sure that we actually get in their inbox, you need proper sending infrastructure. So if you don't have your sending infrastructure nailed down, none of this matters. All right, so you can go to a company like ScaledMail to be able to buy your domains and your inboxes, and they'll make sure that all of this is taken care of for you. Now, the reason why I recommend you use Scaled, there's a bunch of different providers out there. It doesn't really matter, but why I want you to use ScaledMail is because if you look at, they have API documentation. This is how we're going to use Claude Code to be able to buy domains, search for domains, all of this through APIs so that they can handle this for us. For an example, let's just say I already installed the ScaledMail API documentation. I'm just going to give it a quick transcript saying, hey, could you pull up the ScaledMail documentation? I'm looking to buy a bunch of domains in bulk. Something along the lines of Get Novus Digital Media, and some other on Flowgami, Go Flowgami, Pro Flowgami. All right, so we're gonna have that go and I'll show the results. All right, so if you take a look, it literally tells you, hey, here's what's available, all of these different .coms, and you could say, hey, could I do .info, all these things. And so that takes a process away of, hey, buying domains in bulk, which is huge for your sending infrastructure. So just for your rule of thumb, you want 2 inboxes per email domain. You can use .info. I've done a bunch of testing around it. It doesn't matter, doesn't affect reply rates. And then you can do it all through API. Please make sure to wait at least 2 weeks for your inboxes to warm up or you will land in spam. Do not be an idiot and try and send emails right away. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. All right, the next thing I'm going to show you is list building. There's 2 options that you can do for this. Let's get into it. All right, so if you wanted to manually go in, have more control, you can go in and do your thing on all of this, find the necessary people on who you want to be targeting, yada, 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 right? What I really like about AI Arc is that they have a really good API. You're able to do all of this through Claude Code. Let me show you an example. Pull up a new window here. Hey, I'm looking to target. Can you pull up my AI Arc CSV or documentation on the API? I'm looking to target people from 11 to 20 employees in the finance, venture capital, and investment banking space, United States only. I want to be targeting the decision makers around, or it's just, let's go company view. All right, and then we're going to have that do its thing. I actually like to pull relatively broad lists. Why I like to do that is because you want to make sure that you capture everyone. And then what you can do is have AI filter for you so that you don't miss any of your total addressable market slipping through the cracks here. So Claude opened this in browser and it gave me exactly what I was looking for. And you can do this all through API if you want to do it through people search as well. So easy way to do that. I have another video on that where you can see exactly me diving into how you can do all of this through API. So let's say you downloaded that CSV of companies. What I then do is I even say, hey, we have some type of ICP qualify skill. So I have a bunch in here on how you can qualify your account, right? So you had that big list of people. It said, hey, I have this private equity CSV. Make sure that we're doing all these things. And so what it will do is use a tool called Exa, which is a web search API that you can use to be able to scrape the company webpage and all the necessary information for you to understand, okay, is this the person that I was actually trying to target or not? The reason why you want to do this is because I scraped relatively broad. Around 20% of the people that I scraped were actually in that very particular niche and market that I was looking for. So even if you didn't scrape broad and you got 50, 60, 70%, that means 30% of the people that you were emailing aren't even going to be relevant to what you have to say. So can't stress this enough on you need to make sure that you are using, even if you aren't scraping broad, some type of ICP qualifier. So the second method I'm going to show you is using the goal feature in Claude, which you can connect with AI Arc to automatically do this exact process for you to get you a whole list of people in your exact ICP. So I'm going to share that with you. Hey, what's going on? In this video, I'm going to share with you how you can use Claude Code and this skill to be able to generate unlimited leads on autopilot. What I recently did was just say, hey, find me 1,000 B2B kitchen remodeling companies. Don't stop until you find them. It cost me around $10, and it got me a bunch of people within my ICP. And the reason why we want to do this is because AI is so lazy, and I'm sure that you've gone back and forth multiple times with it, but using this skill will allow it to continuously run without you being in the loop. So the whole point is to take you out of the equation by giving it a goal, which I'm going to share with exactly how you're going to be able to do this yourself with Claude Code. Just for you to know is that in this situation, I use the goal to find me 1,000 kitchen remodeling companies. In your case, a goal can be anything. It could be, hey, create 10 images for me. It could be write 20 emails. It could be read every single unread email that I have in the past 24 hours. So just know that you can instruct Claude to be the goal for anything, and there's so many use cases beyond this, and let's get into it. So if I pull up my terminal, I know this might be a little bit overwhelming, but what you want to do is /goal, and then it says, okay, what's the condition? Hey, I want you to find me 1,100 kitchen remodeling companies using my AI Arc API reference, and make sure to check the domain and the company description to make sure they fit within that ICP if they need to be B2B, and put it all into one CSV for me to look at later on. Do not stop until you hit 1,000. Here's what I did was I loaded up an API reference, which I'm going to share with what that means in a second here. But essentially what I did was, hey, give me the goal, which was we're going to do 100 because I just did this, and I'll share with you the CSV. And then I gave it the condition is don't stop until you hit 1,000. Of course, you could put other conditions in there, like don't spend any money if you... Okay, so what I just had Claude do there, it is going through a database called AI Arc. So you can use a bunch of different databases here, but you can use Prospeo, Apollo, Clay, a bunch of different tools out there just for you to be able to find contacts. What this AI is essentially doing now is what I'm about to show you pretty much manually is it's going and it's fine. It might be going kitchen remodeling companies, B2B, and there was more filters that I could put in there. I could have said in the conditions can only be 10 through 20 employees, can only be in the United States, etc. And so the AIR or the Claude might see this and go, oh, wow, okay, American Express, that doesn't make sense. So it might do kitchen manufacturing, kitchen tools, and then it might go industry, manufacturing. And so it'll like start to go off and do this thing, food and beverage manufacturing, Amy's Kitchen. And so the way that Claude is able to do this is through an API reference. And so you need to make sure that your database has that. And if you don't know, all you have to do is look at this. So you can see that AI Arc has a great API doc, and you would just feed that in. So what all of this is just what we were doing manually with clicking those buttons. It's just like, oh, hey, Claude, if you want to click that button, use this. And so that's what API is doing, is I already had it in here, but what you would do is you would just paste that in and say, hey, could you take a look through this API document, analyze it, and store it for future use so that anytime you need to reference it, you have it on hand. And then now Claude is going to install all of that, so it has the necessary information for you to be able to act on this said goal of finding 1,000 companies through that database. So even if we look at what Claude is doing on the back end here, similar to how I was putting like those keywords and other things, definition, disqualifiers, so getting rid of single trade contractors, real estate, property management, home builders, like it is doing all the work to understand. That was my goal. Here's what we need to eliminate and get rid of. And it keeps going and keeps iterating and takes you out of the loop. Okay, so going back to the slide deck is that we have the conditions, we know what the result we want, and just for more information, on how to write a good goal that's very important is you can't just say build me a lead list. You can't just say make the targeting better. You can't just say these things. It has to be very clear. 1,000 companies, that's very tangible. Website being live, that's tangible. They're B2B. If in this the company description, that's tangible. So a lot of these things is if you have an intangible goal, Claude is not going to be able to do that well for you. That's the biggest thing, is using it for work that has no right answer. Writing a great post, not tangible, can't make that a goal. Unless you have a clear definition of what a great post is. Maybe it's 75 words. It has 4 paragraphs. It references, it has these words, etc. So what I just told you here is make sure that you give it the necessary resources. In this case, I showed you that it was the API reference to the contact database that we were looking for. In your case, it could be connected to your email. It could be connected to your CRM. It could be connected to your project management tool. Just make sure that it has some type of connectivity to that so that you can have it do its thing. So that was pretty much what I typed. This was my original prompt that I had in there. I just blurred it out. Hey, I'm just looking for kitchen remodeling companies. They need to be B2B. They need to be 1,000. You don't have to be super granular here or super dialed in with your prompt. Just blurt it out. On my original run, it actually pulled 2,490. So it actually pulled 2,490 companies. And what it did was it got 500, got 1,000, said, okay, only 3 of 400 of these are actually good. And it kept doing that until we reached 1,000. So the total cost of that was $8 to $12 for it to do it automatically and finding exactly 1,000 companies. And I'm going to pull it up right here, actually, because I just did it. And so it gave me 1,000 companies with the confidence level, source, evidence. So let's just pull a random one here. Gave me 1,000 here. So let's just pull a random one here. Kitchen services. Boom. Fervent. But the purpose of this was for you to understand how you can use goal to be able to then give AI a clear, set, measurable, tangible metric that it can go off on its own thing. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is mapping out the system. And please, 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 please map out the actual system in terms of how you want your leads to flow so that you can help them accordingly based on the information that you have. And so it's really important to do this in hand with who you're trying to target with your ICP so that you know, if I'm targeting this person, these are the things that they care about. So we need to make sure we filter against that. So you want to do this hand in hand. So draw the whole system before you build any of it. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. And that's the value proposition of Clay, is that it made it very, very easy to be able to map out and visualize the conditional logic and do it all for you. Right? If it's over 50 people, use this angle. If we can't find this email, use this waterfall, etc. But now Claude Code can do absolutely everything. This is why it's important to map it out, because then you can tell Claude, here's the map, here's all the conditional routing that we need to do. Can you make this? Otherwise, it's going to be very vague and it won't work. So trust me, map out literally everything. I don't care how long it takes. Map out exactly what you want before building anything in Claude Code. I don't give a fuck. It's going to save you a ton of time. All right, so how do you visualize the system is you're going to ask Claude Code to build you an HTML artifact. So if we go back into our Claude Code, I'm just going to give it a random prompt. All right, so if you look at my prompt, I literally asked it, Claude, hey, can you make me an HTML artifact of the waterfall pipeline and then I already had something built out, but this is where you would describe exactly what you're looking to accomplish in as much detail as possible. So we're going to take this link and we are going to see what it came up with. So this is the ICP. This is the waterfall. And it says, first of all, we're going to go through their do not contact list. Then we're going to see ICP fit. Is this a restaurant brand? Reject or continue. 2 or more locations. We need to figure that out. So it tells you exactly what it's doing. Did they just open somewhere? Pulls the qualified list. And then it tells you, and then it's like, we want to make sure that this goes before this, or we need to make sure we put them through the email. So this is how you can visualize it. And if you don't like that style, what you can do is, can you turn this into a mermaid diagram? And a mermaid diagram is going to show you kind of that Miro board style that you're probably used to. So we're going to wait for that. All right. So this is the mermaid diagram that it says. So you can easily see how this visualizes, and you can be on the same page with you and your team, or it's just you, into how everything routes, and then you would fix it from here. All right, the next thing I want you to think about is the signals that you're trying to go after. And this will always vary based on who you're targeting and why. So an easy one that people always go after is the hiring. Maybe it's ad spend. So let's say you're targeting an e-commerce company. You want to see what ads they're running, how long they've been running for, details on their ads so that you can reach out because you're an e-commerce marketing email agency. There's tools out there to be able to search that. Maybe it's a particular tech stack that you're like, oh, they're on HubSpot CRM, boom. Maybe they just talked about something in the company news on their website, classic firmographic stuff. Now, this is where you can get extremely creative. There are gazillions of databases out there. Maybe you want to scrape their social medias. Maybe you want to scrape their Glassdoor reviews, Crunchbase, funding. Maybe their VP of marketing just went to a new company. Maybe they're different champion, right? There's so many different things. So you can be using AI to track all of that. The final thing I want to talk about here is that you want to make sure that you validate your emails. Double validate your emails. Anymail Finder, Prospeo, MillionVerifier. There's a gazillion out there. LeadMagic, just do it. And make sure that you use Claude Code to only give you validated emails and then drop the rest of them. So I know the next thing I want to talk about is campaign angles and copy. And the number one thing that you need to focus on is an offer that a complete stranger actually cares about. For an example, if you say to someone, I'll optimize your social media campaigns, no one is going to give a fuck. What does that even mean? I don't even know what that means. An offer is, I guarantee you'll get an additional 40 customers in 90 days or you don't pay. That is an offer. So have a clear outcome that you are promising to your potential buyer. I don't know what this means. In terms of angles, there's a lot out there. But it primarily, especially when it comes to cold traffic, comes down to 3 different things, which is making them money, saving them time, or cutting their costs. So if you say, hey, I can make you 40 customers in 90 days, or it's, hey, I can save you the time of how long it takes. I know it takes you 25 hours a week to manage your social media campaigns. I can do this, blah, blah, blah. Or, hey, I know that you spend $5,000 on your advertising a month. We'll handle all of that and see what combination of different offers and messaging resonates with your audience to find message market fit. And there's a few different places where you can test your messaging. The biggest ones are subject line, because you need to get them to open the email. If they don't open the email, it doesn't matter what you say in your message. So test different subject lines. What's your opening sentence? Because if you really think about it, they have to read the first sentence if they want to read the second sentence. And then maybe they'll skim. They'll skim. What's your offer and CTA? These are the 3 base levers you can pull in terms of how you can optimize your campaign copy. Biggest thing is, if you want to know that if people are reading your email, put it through what I call the toilet test or the shit test. Imagine you wake up or your prospect wakes up, right? They're like, oh. First thing they do, they grab their phone, they get on the shitter, and maybe they take first 5 minutes scrolling on LinkedIn, Instagram. They're still like, and they pull up their email. It's like, okay, what's on my email? If you send them a wall of text, they are not going to fucking read that. All right? It needs to be like 1 line, 2 lines, 1 line. Because then it's just like easy to read. Because they're still like half awake, not even morning coffee. And they're like, you got to put it through that test. If it doesn't pass that, redo it. Another thing I want to talk about is creating the copy automatically. So there's a bunch of skills and tools that you can use to create the email copy. For an example, right here, you can see that I talked about how I already had my SaaS campaign with all the copy that I would have liked in there. I asked it to do is just say, hey, could you make the same type of copy using the templates that I have for the financial services space? Now, what I do recommend here is that you take the time to create more of the templates or that actual copy yourself before you ask AI to make all of it so that you know what works. But this is a great way for you to be able to, let's say you create one type of copy. Can you make 10 different variations of this with spin tags? And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So we asked Claude to make all of those things. And if we go into the sequences, it made it all for us like this. Hey, you want to see our founding companies before they want to buy? So it automatically made all of that. Just to show you, once we asked it, like when we asked it to do that thing, blah, 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 did la, 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 la. And it said, okay, done 3 campaigns and Smartlead live as drafts. So that's when it automatically put in those leads and I'll put in all that copy. On top of that, make sure that you use spin tags in your copy which is creating different variations, and make sure you put it through different spam checkers to make sure that you're optimizing deliverability. And then now I'm going to show you how you can, once you have all of this, copy in whatever who you're targeting to make sure that you can put it through your sending tool like Smartlead or Instantly. So we don't have any leads in the three campaigns right now. And what we're going to do is pull this up. Hey, just downloaded the CSV of the people across these firms. What I need you to do is look at the decision maker and then cross-reference it to see where you bucketed the particular account names, company name. So look at the lead, bucket it by company name, and then put them into the according campaign in Smartlead. Now we're gonna wait for that to go. All right, so if we go through, it said that it filtered and put all those leads through. And if we open up Smartlead, still nothing. Just gonna refresh, and they should be in here now. There they are. So 883 leads. They all got allocated 324 to okay. And then the final thing that I'm going to talk about is how you can set up a reply bot with Slack to make sure that you're staying on top of all of your replies in this video. I am going over the instant email reply bot. I'm going to show you how it works. All right, so I just got that email from the sender, and I'm just going to say something like, hey, sure, sounds good. Sending me Morgan. Now, here's what's happening on the back end. So once we sent that email, prospect responds, we pull up who they are, the original email that we sent, person, the company, and it's going to read that and route it based on, they might have a pricing objection. They want to just ask a general question, send me something. No, not the right time. Hey, sure, send me some times, right? So depending on the scenario, it's going to create a different reply. And how we did that is we took the replies that you already have and create a library of each scenario and the different types of replies that you had for each scenario so that it can always respond in your voice. So now that's where this drafting reply happens. It goes, okay, this is a price objection. This is how the founder typically replies to the price objection. Then what it's going to do is it's going to go into Slack, and you have a chance to either approve it or edit it. And it's going to send it in the same thread through the email sender tool that you already used, whether it be Instantly, Smartlead, PlusVibe. And then it's going to go into a Supabase or a database where it's going to log every single metric. And then once you send that reply, after 2 days, 4 days, 6 days, 8 days, it's going to have a log of this so that it can continually follow up in that thread. So if we look in Slack, it just showed up. It was the same one. Needs a look. Prospect name time. Hey, sure, that sounds good. Send me some more info. Hey, Ryan, here's a quick loom I feel about how this could work for you. If that's interesting, I've got some time. Oh, another piece on this is that we connected to your calendar so that it can learn and read those suggestions automatically so that it can automatically suggest those times to your prospect. So this all looks good. Let's just approve. And then we should be seeing it in the email shortly here. Let me take a look. All right. And we just got that response. Looks really good. Here's a quick loom. So this work for you. If we gave it a different pricing objection, it would do something different. Let's do one more on this, and let's give it a say, hey, I've thought something like this before. I'm only willing to do commission based on deals that close. All right, and now we'll give it a second. It's going to show up in Slack. All right, and then it just came through Slack. It said, hey, I've tried something like this before. I'm willing to do commission. Hey, Ryan, I understand position. Unfortunately, there's ongoing costs on our part to set up for every client, keep the machine running so they can't work on only commission. If you want to say, hey, but how about if there's something else you want to add here, totally get. Let's say we wanted to edit it and say we can't work on only commission, pricing. All right, so we are going to check our email for that. We just hit the edit button. You get a little notification from the reply bot saying edited and approved by me. And now let's go to our email. And it looks like we got a new message here. You can see in the bottom, oh, well, my camera's going to be in the way, but we just got a new message. I'm going to, hey, Ryan, understand your position. Unfortunately, there's ongoing cost. It's a small tech fee plus performance and pricing. Does that sound interesting? Cool. This is the table where all replies will get logged. So if we take a look, it's going to have everything that you need just to be able to track everything from the lead email, sender account, subject line. what they originally said, and then so that we log the time that we send that reply email so that it can scan every 2 days later, 4 days later, 6 days later, we can send the email again. So that is the email instant reply bot. Again, prospect writes back, pull up who they are, read it, route it, draft the reply, you approve it, sends in the same thread, it's logged, and everything is in a database so that you know and have everything in there. Cheers. Awesome. Hope that was helpful. If you want help generating more leads or getting your outbound systems up and running, feel free to book a call below. And if this was helpful, subscribe, and I'll keep breaking these down. Cheers. I'm going to be the rest of your day. Thanks.